Kevin Costner, Robin Wright Penn, and Paul Newman star in Message in a Bottle. Alicia Silverstone discovers Brendan Fraser is a blast from the past. And alien Christopher Lloyd turns Jeff Daniels' life upside down in My Favorite Martian.
Dear Catherine, forgive me for being so angry when you left.
Chicago newspaper researcher Robin Wright Penn tracks down Kevin Costner, a man who sent a romantic message in a bottle, and that's in one of 5 new movies I'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, plus a look at the Oscar surprises, both pleasant and disappointing. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Gene Siskel is taking off the rest of the season to continue recovering from surgery. The first movie is Message in a Bottle, where the message arrives so slowly that the movie itself could have been put in a bottle and thrown into the ocean and gotten here just about as fast. It's a movie with very nice people in it who lead lives of admirable sensitivity, but it moves with the energy of an album of slow, romantic music, and I finally got just a little impatient waiting for the drama and crisis. Kevin Costner is a man whose wife died 2 years ago. He sent her a message in a bottle, and it was found by Robin Wright Penn, who tracked down the author to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. He doesn't know here that she's read his message.
Will you sail with me tonight?
I go back in a few days. And I can't change that because my son's coming home. I don't know if this makes sense. Maybe. Okay.
Paul Newman adds enormous charm to the film as Costner's father, who tries to help out and stay out of the way at the same time.
Good dinner. You were the best thing about it. You know, if I was about 150 years younger, you'd be in trouble, young lady.
Where are you going?
Taking my dessert on the beach.
Eventually, it's time for Penn to return to Chicago, and this is the kind of labored dialogue they have to wade through.
So will you come and visit me?
You mean inland? I don't go inland.
We have a lake. A big lake.
Costner eventually agrees to go to Chicago and visit the woman he thinks he may be in love with.
See you in a week.
The hell you say? Not with your plane ticket sitting on the seat here.
Now, everybody in the theater knows that Costner is sooner or later going to find out that Penn read his message, and then he'll feel betrayed. But the movie delays the discovery so long it becomes a distraction. We're sitting there in the audience saying, when is she going to tell him, or when is he going to find this out? And then at the end of the movie, the plot turns really goofy with a surprise ending that's arbitrary and unlikely and melodramatic and left me feeling manipulated. I like the actors. I like Kevin Costner, Robin Wright Penn, and Paul Newman. They're very good together. Newman has a great role in this movie. But the characters don't really seem to have the kind of connection they should, especially this guy. I mean, she likes him because he's a shipwright, and he has a house with a beautiful view of the ocean, and he looks neat in his nautical gear, and he's a man of few words, and she feels sorry because his wife was an artist and she died and all this stuff. But he doesn't really have any conversation, and if he were the guy at the next desk at her newspaper in Chicago, she probably wouldn't even go out to lunch for him. We don't believe the romance. So, thumbs down from me for Message in a Bottle. In our next movie, a spaceship from Mars crash lands on Earth and disgorges a strange pilot who makes life crazy for the TV producer that he latches onto. The movie is My Favorite Martian, based on the old TV series. It stars Jeff Daniels as the man who sees the ship crash and soon has a new house guest, a Martian who is nicknamed Uncle Martin, who chews a magic gumball that makes him look like a human being. The Martian, played by Christopher Lloyd, is impatient with the peculiarities of Earthlings.
Warning, Tim O'Hara. Any attempt to expose me will be useless. Martians use 100% of their brain capacity. Humans, less than 10.
Elizabeth Hurley plays a TV reporter who is captured by a government scientist who thinks she's the alien. While LaShawn plays his familiar role here, he's the obsessive nerd.
Do you have any idea how alien DNA ended up on your cigarette?
I might. First of all, let's talk about what's in this for me.
The movie makes heavy use of computer-generated graphics in its special effects, as in this scene where the Martian shrinks the getaway car so they can escape from the Fed.
Come on! They're shooting at us! Back in that garage! Garage! There! Hang on!
My Favorite Martian is one of those movies where there's kind of an upper cutoff age on who can enjoy it. It's kind of like Rugrats in that way. It's not for older audiences. My best guess is by the time you're in the low double digits, you're getting to be a little bit too old for this movie. But it does have a high energy level and lots of colorful gizmos, and everybody on the screen seems to be having fun. So, for kids, yes, but unless you're in the target age group, I give it thumbs down. Coming up later in the show, Brendan Fraser spends 35 years in a bomb shelter in Blast from the Past. Coming up next, the Oscar surprises, including Shakespeare placing ahead of Spielberg.
The show must go on.
Carla Tate wants what everyone wants.
No!
Independence.
I need to be responsible so that my parents get off my back.
Sometimes ordinary life
I want you to meet Daniel.
Don't worry, I've been house trained.
is an extraordinary achievement.
This is just a harmless crush.
Kate, 146. Looks pretty good.
How much do you weigh?
The Other Sister, rated PG-13, starts Friday, February 26th.
Look, Marion, it's those snobs, the Hendersons.
How are you? We just vacationed in Aspen. That's nice. We called all our grandkids this morning.
And you can still afford prime rib, old boy?
Actually, we're buying extra because of all the money we saved by using 10-10-3-2-1.
We save 50% on calls over 10 minutes, don't we, Tom?
How quaint.
Oh, frankly, we never look at prices.
Well, we do. And with 10-10-3-2-1, we saved $20 last month.
Joe.
Did you get that number?
10-10-3-2-1.
It's my play. It is all locked safe in here. God be praised. Locked. As soon as I found my muse.
Is it possibly an omen of things to come that Shakespeare in Love was nominated for 13 Academy Awards this week, and the generally acknowledged frontrunner, Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan, finished second with only 11? Not that 11 is so bad. Well, I don't really think so. At this point, I still think Steven Spielberg's World War II drama is the frontrunner for Best Picture, but Shakespeare in Love's strong showing was an eye-opener in a year when independent films once again dominated the nomination. One reason might have been the well-known problem of fading emotional attention spans. Most Oscar voters saw Private Ryan last July and Shakespeare in Love last month.
So tell my lady William Shakespeare waits for her in the garden.
What of Lord Wessex?
For one kiss, I would defy 1,000 Wessexes.
Another surprise was the strong showing by Life is Beautiful with 7 nominations. Like Shakespeare in Love, it's a Miramax release, and Miramax proves again it's the best in town at mounting Oscar campaigns. Roberto Benigni had a personal triumph. He got nominated as actor, director, and for his screenplay, and his movie was the first in 30 years to be nominated simultaneously for both Best Picture and Best Foreign Language Film. You could tell that the Oscar voters did some homework this year. They didn't choose just big names from box office hits that everybody had seen, but they did some digging. It was a surprise, a good surprise, that Nick Nolte and James Coburn were nominated as Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor for Paul Schrader's Affliction.
Go on, wait. Just leave. Yeah, just listen to your little brother here. Wait, just leave it. Candy acid.
Another surprise was the nomination of Edward Norton as Best Actor for his work in American History X. He played a skinhead who undergoes a change of heart while he's in prison.
I don't want you getting in trouble in school, trying to impress me, taking this in there, all right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
And here was a real sleeper. Fernanda Montenegro, a veteran Brazilian actress unknown in this country, edged out the likes of Susan Sarandon and Cameron Diaz to win nomination as Best Actress in the Brazilian film Central Station. She plays a hard-boiled older woman who befriends an abandoned kid who's looking for his dad.
A gente devia andar só de ônibus, nunca táxi. O ônibus tem caminho certo, tem lugar certo. Já o táxi não. Ele toma rumo qualquer e depois se perde.
The biggest news overall was that independent films are back on top of the vote totals as they were the year before last. Of the top 45 nominations, 27 were for independent titles, and of the 18 mainstream nominations, 11 were for the Spielberg film alone. When we come back, Oscar Part 2, the names that were missing. And later in the show, Brendan Fraser collides with the 90s in Blast from the Past.
Good morning, Truman.
Hey, how are you guys? Beautiful day, isn't it?
Always.
And how's your lovely wife?
Continuing our survey of the Oscar surprises, let's take a look at the names that seemed to be missing last Tuesday. When it was released last June, everybody was sure The Truman Show and its star, Jim Carrey, would be major players at Oscar time. You could almost take that to the bank, but the movie and Jim Carrey were both overlooked by Academy voters, even though it got 3 nominations for director Peter Weir, supporting actor Ed Harris, and for its screenplay. Well, what happened in the big categories? 2 things, I think. First, The Truman Show was released 8 months ago. Second, a general reaction this year seems to have set in against comedies or even movies perceived as comedies that are a little more serious. Consider, for example, the year's most popular comedy, There's Something About Mary, which made more people laugh louder than any movie in recent years, but got completely shut out.
Oh, good pooch.
More evidence of the suspicion of comedy, no nomination for Bill Murray for Rushmore.
I'm a little bit lonely these days.
Nor for David Kelly, whose performance as a scrawny lottery imposter was wonderful in Waking Ned Devine.
What a famous little chap he is. A big win, is it?
Here's another case that doesn't seem too logical. Brenda Blethyn got a supporting actress nomination for Little Voice, and Michael Caine won a Golden Globe for his work in the film, but Oscar snubbed the film's leading lady, Jane Horrocks, even though both the movie and the original play were written specifically to showcase her talent for mimicry.
I have this thing about saxophone players. I don't know what it is. My spine turns to custard. I get goosebumpy all over.
I personally respond very strongly to the visuals in films, especially innovative or daring visuals. I was happy to see, for that reason, a nomination for art direction for What Dreams May Come. It created a heaven with the paint still wet.
You're young again.
So that was a good nomination, but how come the art directors overlooked the brilliant work last year in Gene's favorite film, Babe, Pig in the City?
Whatever the case, in this place with its dark corners and endless possibilities, the pig felt sure he would find a way to redeem himself.
There was one nomination this year, however, that really brought an instant smile to my face, and that was in the Best Foreign Film category, where Children of Heaven from Iran was nominated. It's the first film of 1999 that I gave 4 stars to in my newspaper review, and now I'm about to give it thumbs up. Children of Heaven is one of the very best family films of recent years, the kind of film the children sit through in total absorption. It tells the story of a brother and sister who are faced with a crisis when he loses her only pair of shoes. To keep the secret from their father, she wears her brother's shoes to school in the morning, then they switch for his afternoon classes. Here's a touching scene when the son and his father go to the rich part of town looking for work as gardeners. The kid speaks up when his father is intimidated by an intercom. Finally, the answer to his prayers, a foot race for poor kids, is being held, and third prize is a pair of sneakers. You know, sometimes I think that Don Rickles is the greatest influence on contemporary American children's culture, because he invented the roast, and then that kind of humor got taken over into sitcoms, and then kids learn from sitcoms that the way you talk is you insult each other to some kind of inaudible laugh track. The brother and sister in Children of Heaven, however, they love one another. They're not just sitting there trading one-liners. Now, some people are going to say that the film has subtitles, which is true, but none, I think, that are so hard a third grader couldn't read them, and they can tell their little brothers and sisters what they say, or for that matter, this story tells itself, even without the subtitles. It's clear, dramatic, exciting, and I couldn't possibly recommend it more highly. The Academy did a good thing when they nominated Children of Heaven, a very enthusiastic thumbs up. When we return, his dad seals the time lock on the family bomb shelter, and Brendan Fraser emerges 35 years later in Blast from the Past.
Hey, Mr. Zeus.
Hey, temperature's a nice 73 degrees.
Oh, maybe I've just got the creeps.
Could you? This is just like home.
No. No, Calvin. This is different. Believe me.
Christopher Walken plays a brilliant but very peculiar scientist, and Sissy Spacek is his long-suffering wife there in that scene from Blast from the Past, a movie about three people who form a nuclear family in more ways than one. During the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, Walken becomes totally convinced the nuclear war is actually broken out. So he seals himself and his pregnant wife in his elaborate bomb shelter for 35 years. Life moves slowly down below as their son Adam is born and grows to manhood. He's played by Brendan Fraser, who in movies like Encino Man and George of the Jungle has always seemed a little out of step with his time.
Elbow, son.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. What the heck am I thinking tonight?
You never know. You might someday dine at the White House with the president.
We still have one.
35 years pass. The time locks finally open, and his family sends Adam above for a look around at the post-war world.
What is it?
The sky!
I see it, Mommy.
I have never in my life seen anything like it before. Or like you.
Adam's dad saved baseball cards, which are priceless 35 years later, as he finds out when he meets a card expert, played by Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah. Let me guess something. This is your first visit to La La Land. You're staying somewhere in Hollywood because, like an idiot, you thought that would be an exciting place to stay. Am I right so far?
Silverstone's big picture was Clueless, but now it's Adam who is clueless in a world his parents have not prepared him for.
Oh, you dial 9 to get out.
Of what?
The hotel.
I see.
The movie has a lot of sly satire in it as it examines all kinds of ways in which a perfectly normal young man raised with all the values of 1962 would think the modern world has been indeed shaped by radioactive mutation. Thumbs up for me for Blast from the Past. My next movie is a very special one named God Said Ha. It's a funny and touching one-woman performance piece by Julia Sweeney, who you might remember from Saturday Night Live, where among other characters she played the curiously androgynous person named Pat. In the film, she describes her life in the weeks and months after her brother learned that he had cancer, and both her brother and her parents moved into her new home, where she was just beginning to enjoy some privacy for the first time in her entire life.
For example, this is how my mother would answer the phone. Hello, this is Jerry Sweeney answering the telephone to take down a message for her daughter, Julia Sweeney. I had to take her aside and say, you know, hello.
The underlying subject matter is cancer, and that's serious, but Sweeney brings the saving grace of humor to her account of everyday life. Her mother emerges as a lovable but maddening woman who, like the mother in Blast from the Past, might also have spent the years since 1962 in a bomb shelter.
And my mother immediately came back, and she said, Julie, I'm sorry to bother you, but I have been through your kitchen top to bottom, and I cannot find where you keep your mixes. And I said, my what? And she said, your mixes. You know, like your Laura Scudder's beef stroganoff mix. Where is that?
God Said Ha is the kind of movie I was hoping for when I went to see Patch Adams, the Robin Williams film. Now, there's been a big national discussion about the fact that the public liked Patch Adams, and there wasn't a critic of any stature in the country who liked it. Why did the critics hate it? I think because we're looking for a movie like God Said Ha, which also is humorous and also has personal observation and is also about dying and about death, but has taste and intelligence instead of just pounding the audience over the head with the most obvious and manipulative gimmicks in order to get them to cry. You cry during this film, but you cry because you empathize with this person. So thumbs up for God Said Ha. It's a wonderfully funny, observant, life-affirming film. When we come back, my video pick of the week, one of the most heartwarming films of recent years.
Video pick of the week is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
February is Black History Month, and there's history and a lot more in my video pick this week. It's Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored, a film by Tim Reed about a time of change in a black community in the rural South. In the years right after World War II, a grandfather played by Al Freeman Jr. gives his grandson, Charles Earl Taylor, his first lesson in reading and writing, and it's a lesson with a sad message.
That's the first letter of the word white. Now, when you see this, whether it's on a door or a sign or a water fountain, you don't use it.
As the young boy prepares to go to school, the Iceman, played by Richard Roundtree, represents the entire community in seeing his generation as the hope for the future.
You study real hard, you hear? Go all the way. Learn how to draw buildings or be a doctor. Now, you can be anything you wants to be.
Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored is available on cassette, and it's brand newly released right now on DVD. It's my video pick of the week. Now let's take another look at the movies reviewed on this week's show. I liked 3 of the movies, giving thumbs up to Blast from the Past, where Brendan Fraser, Christopher Walken, and Sissy Spacek confront the weirdness of modern life. A very warm thumbs up for God Said Ha, Julia Sweeney's story of a bittersweet year in the life of her family. And a very enthusiastic thumbs up for Children of Heaven, the Iranian family film just nominated for an Oscar. But thumbs down from me for Message in a Bottle, which moseys through a plot the audience can easily anticipate and has a ridiculous ending. Also, thumbs down for My Favorite Martian, although it does have high energy and good enough goofiness to entertain younger kids. Remember, you can hear our reviews on the web at siskel-ebert.com. Next week, I'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including the romantic Generation X comedy Office Space, starring Jennifer Aniston, and Jawbreaker, about 3 teenage girls who accidentally killed the most popular girl in school. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Closed captioning for Siskel and Ebert is sponsored by...
Take a bite of Croissant Pockets Philly steak and cheese. Discover tender beef, grilled onions, real cheddar, and a crispy, flaky croissant crust.
What are you gonna pick?
Croissant Pockets.